What's up, everybody? I am back with another reaction video from Chamberlain. And this video is titled Progressive White Women Are Wrecking Everything. Indeed they do. We'll get further into it, but follow Chamberlain on his channel. Want to make sure I give the credit to the original content creator, but also follow me on my channels, YouTube and Twitch, Talkative Carl, as I stream games, reactive videos, and review content. Without further ado, we'll jump right into this video.
Progressive white women have brought about a succession of cultural disasters, cringe content, and neurotic ideological nonsense, leaving the rest of us to pick our way through the debris with all the resolve we can muster. Progressive white women were able to make they-them, gender-fluid, and non-binary enter the mainstream discourse. Their advocacy for trans people created a
Women did this. Men didn't come up with this little idea, because men tend to be a lot more sensible and understand the realities of the world at a very young age.
Real hyper-policed culture of compelled speech that lifted trans people to a special...
Because honestly, women too busy want to coddle everything, and everything want to be fair, and we want to worry about other people's feelings. Because of that, they allowed certain things that shouldn't have been allowed in the zeitgeist, where men who should have been acting like men and told them no, and that's how it's going to be, deal with it. We wouldn't have these things like non-binary or gender fluid crap. It's all crap. You know it's crap. Is either people want to be victims so bad, or they want to feel like they want to be on the in crowd. That is what it is. Okay? It is, be honest with yourself. You look at it, that's what it is. It's one of those two things. Like, oh, I want to be queer. What does that even mean? You want to be pansexual? Oh, you will bang literally anything and everything? No. Okay? If we were to just make sure thanks to Trump mostly, but if people just stand on business and say, no, there are only two genders, we wouldn't have these extra little caveats like, they, them, and queer, and gender fluid. It's like, you're gay, you like men. If you're lesbian, you like women. If you're straight, you like men. If you're straight, you like women. That's it. All these extra little caveats is just like, muddy nonsense.
Plane of empowerment.
Excuse me, ma'am. No porn at the bar.
Oh, it's okay. I'm transgender.
Oh, I had no idea. Do whatever you want all the time.
And progressive white women's preoccupation with micro-diagnosing their insecurities and grievances has gotten to the point that the New York Times said, women are so fed up with dating men that the phenomenon even has a name: heterofatalism.
I'm disappointed in your species.
When it comes to age gap relationships, progressive white women are guilty of the most astounding hypocrisy and double standards and socio-cultural acrobatics. How much longer will men be able to date younger women? Welcome to new MILF cinema, on-screen moms climbing atop a youthful stud and running off into the sunset. Hollywood's pathetic posse of older men dating women half their age. The idea of you centers on Selene, a single mom who begins an unexpected romance with 24-year-old Hayes Campbell, the lead singer of the hottest boy band on the planet.
The hypocrisy is staggering, but most of them don't see it that way. They don't want to see it at all. Or even if you do put it out to them and they might acknowledge it, they might end up saying like, oh, well, men do it. Men got away with it for years. So what? There's a lot of things women do that, like, y'all got away for years, but you don't hear men being pissy about it. Oh, women got in certain spaces for free. What can men? You see how that sounds? Women get drinks for free. Women do it. See how that sounds? There are certain things that just women just cannot do and had it be okay. Not saying like, hey, it's kind of girls when they're young and at their prime tend to go for the older dude. They just naturally drawn to them, especially if the guy's good looking. Yeah, because that's a sign of maturity. Oh, she doesn't typically date guys in her peer group because those guys are not mature yet, or to really put in male filter, he isn't established yet. He doesn't have his own, business, or have like a good fixed income. He doesn't have his own place yet. Things that a woman will naturally like to just move on into. Guys in her peer group probably still living with his parents because he hasn't gotten to that point yet. So, of course, women tend to be drawn to guys that are a little older because older men are often the established ones. They want to just kind of not build anything or struggle with any dude in their peer group, no matter how decent of a guy he might be. They want to cut in front of the line, or wait at the finish line for the guy who's already established, so they can just, live off that dude. Not acknowledging what kind of character that guy have, because they end up waiting too late to trying to acknowledge that, or probably vet that first before she shacks up with the dude or do anything sex with the guy. Now she's living with regret because she didn't see all the telltale signs of him being possible bad dude. But now they got trauma. Now they spend endless hours in the therapy sessions just coming up with new words to just regurgitate with no concept or context of how to use those particular words, instead of getting healed or deeming themselves healed. It's just like now the rest of us got to deal with it. Or anytime she runs into the actual good guy, he has to go through 10 circus hoops in order to prove himself for this woman who probably should have had the wherewithal to vet men properly before she experienced any trauma that didn't need to exist in the first place. But men get to bang younger girls. You were the younger girl. You're just not anymore. Now you're not in the hot commodity no more. So now you invent these little movie propagandas to make yourself feel better. Because as much as I love Anne Hathaway, she's not the Princess Bride anymore. She's the Queen Bride, or the Queen, the Queen, mother. Sorry, doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean you're not still hot. But in terms of hey, you're a hot commodity when you're the Princess Bride. Probably should make sure you got you hooked up to the guy that you deemed was a fit suitor, and he's a good dude. You married, you're off the market now. Stop trying to still sell yourself as the hot mom or the hot grandma. That drove me crazy when they try to really push that little agenda with Martha Stewart on those little magazines. I like Martha Stewart, your old grandma, okay? I'm pretty sure there's guys that out there that will probably still bang you. But it's not that many, and not many that you will find appealing. But stop trying to push this little narrative just to convince young girls, I can still do it. Even Martha Stewart can do it. I can still do it. I can still do the girl bossing thing and still get me a hot 24-year-old dude when I'm 65 years old. If I still look good. No. Okay? It's extremely rare. In terms of probability, not possibility. It's not practical either.
Within 10 minutes, the story's charm and beguiling characters are in full bloom. The problem with men who date much younger women. In Lonely Planet, both Dern and decades younger.
And ask yourself, why do guys like younger women tend to go for young women in mass compared to women who are 40 plus? Because they have less wrinkles. Sorry. They have less baggage. Sorry. They ain't jaded by the world or, had because honestly, who's 40 plus, you know she probably had at least 25 dicks in her. Probably more because she doesn't want to count certain ones because in her mind, her delusion, doing up the butt doesn't count. Like, she is, more pliable, meaning that she's willing to get on the guys program, which most women like to anyway. And, she's pleasant to be around with. She's more like, you can do a lot of stuff with her. She has an experience, and you get a kick out of being the one to show her these kind of experience. You guys get a high off of that because he's the one that's showing all these little, little places or certain restaurants or certain things because that, that it's like endorphins or something. It's like we like that. We like to be that experience for that girl, and she gets more drawn to the guy. Now, hopefully that guy is a good guy, so that there is a good experience, a good pair bonding, and he can. She's the kind of woman that he can give the world to, or some facsimile of. She's fertile, young, and she can bear him quite a few children. Smart, wiser women who was raised properly understand this and get snatched up early. So by the time they're 40s, they already had at least 3 or 4 kids. They had a good relation. They have, hopefully, still going, a good relationship with the guy that met her when she was 23. And then she's just now, already was into a few years in her career path, because she already did the bulk of the raising the children. Now she, her womb has already been utilized, so now she can do whatever, and she's acting her age. Not to say she needs to look like members of the Golden Girls, but she knows she got to dress appropriately. She's a mom now, or auntie. She's a grandma. Dress appropriately. It drives me crazy with, like, Kris Jenner is still dressing like she's still like a hot 30-year-old or 20-year-old. Stop it. You're a grandma. Act like it. What do you think? There's no nanas out there no more. Like, somebody like Kris Jenner's age should be dressing like Medea. Let's be real. Stop trying to put in this little weird facade like you still got it. No, you don't.
Hemsworth bring their requisite qualities to the pairing, which feels spiky, surprising and tender, up to and including a very female-gazy sex scene on the dresser. In the feminist pursuit of a gender-equal society, we must recognize how age disparity can play a significant role in reinforcing gender inequality. In Last Summer, middle-aged lawyer Anne engages in a clandestine affair with her 17-year-old stepson Theo. The director imbues an arc we've seen before: surprise attraction, illicit physical contact, accidental exposure, with
It's smut. It's female smut. It's just like those books, that milking farm crap. Oh, God. And it's kind of ironic they deem like what guys goon over as gross, but is twice as bad on the female end of things. It's almost borderline R word in terms of like raping, is what I mean. It's like, ugh. It's like, have you ever been? Because back in in my 20s, I've been to quite a few strip clubs, and obviously guys handle going to those things with some decorum. The girls that go, they're almost like ravenous wolves. It's like I'm looking at quite a few of them like go touching on these female strippers, and it's like a zombie horde almost. Like, golly, it's like, chill the heck out. It's like, I don't know. It's just like most guys will get kicked out for doing half the stuff that they did that night. But like I said, it's double standards, exist for a reason. Girls are less threatening, so they get certain passes.
Sensitivity and a dash of mystique. Is it okay to be this annoyed about older men who date much younger women? MILF Manor returns to TLC. The MILFs dive headfirst into a series of exhilarating activities, from heart-pounding relay races to steamy mud wrestling matches. The singles pull out all the stops to secure precious one-on-one time and deepen their romantic connections. 35-year-old no longer thinks men should be allowed to date younger women. Why millennial women love Gen Z men.
Jealousy. It's jealousy. Because they were hot one time. There's a new crop of women out there that's hot, like they used to be. And of course, most guys, whether they're the same age as those girls or they're older, generally flock to those kind of women in mass by comparison to the opposite. Guys ain't fiending, most 40-year-old dudes are not fiending for the 35-year-olds. Or the other 40-year-olds. They're not really fiending for that. If you honestly, in good faith questioning, if you ask a 40-year-old dude, here's a 40-year-old woman and here's a 25-year-old girl, both pleasant women, they're not stupid, which one would you go to? Like, if you see both of them at like a bar or a lounge or something, if both catch your eye, if you ask honestly, which one you will naturally knee-jerk reaction will go towards first? Most people will, 9 times out of 10, will go for the 25-year-old because it's just a natural biology. Because she's deemed as the fertile one. Guys want to procreate. We want what do you think we want to sow our wild oats? What do you think the oats are? Seed. And of course, society got browbeat into being monogamous, but most guys will, find it cool to have at least a couple of girls that he can live with, and he can bang both of them and impregnate them both and have a whole village full of kids that they're raising. That'd be awesome. But in most cases, guys will settle with the one girl they can have consistent sex with. But it's just oh wow, that's girls can have it too. No, you cannot. Sorry. You don't have seed to spread all the live long day. You have one womb, 2 ovaries. It's only meant for, at most, triplets. Unless you're Octomom or something, but that's a rare case.
The 27-year-old age gap is vital to the message of Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy, because it demystifies the stigma around women having a sell-by date. It is also a representation of her desirability. When Bridget Jones hooks up with a man decades her junior, every midlife woman in the cinema audience feels a moment of hope. Spider Old Man. Tobey Maguire faces backlash after being spotted with 20-year-old influencer. Good Luck to You, Leo Grande is a deeply sensual film. There's nothing sexier than watching a woman.
See, Emma Thompson, I remember her talking about this, and she was pushing this whole feminist little talking points. And it's look, you're good looking for a woman your age, but why are you pushing this narrative any woman of any age can still get a hot... No, realistically, this dude would not look at her twice. She seemed she seems like a nice older grandma. She seems nice. It's not the first thing in his mind, in his loins, is screaming. It's not going to be screaming, let me put my thing in it. It's never going to happen. In a realistic context, that is not happening. Oh God, it's just. But on the opposite end, obviously, young girls will go for older guys, and older guys will go for the younger girls. They come together like peanut butter and jelly. Not saying there isn't a 35 or 40-year-old woman that can hook up with a 20-something-year-old dude. Sure, that's generally fine. But I won't say that's a rarity, but it just doesn't, it either doesn't last long, or it just doesn't happen as often by comparison to the opposite end. Because these things, the younger girl and the older guy have natural needs that kind of intertwine with each other perfectly. He's mature, has resources. He's probably looks pretty decent most of the time. He has his own spot. He's established. He has a kingdom that she can easily move into and be protected and safe. She has security, which all women really like. She has youth, beauty, fertile, bear a lot of children, capability to bear a lot of children, which ultimately guys would need. They need to pass on lineage, their legacy. And you can have fun with this woman for a good long time. She'll be more so on this page. She wouldn't be so independent. She would look to him more often with guidance and longing. That comes together so perfectly well. But it's just older women don't sit there and go with the younger dudes outside of purposes of just riding his junk. It's and sure, she can probably, spend money on the dude, but how long that lasts before she gets sick of it? Because girls are not naturally drawn to provide for the guy. It's weird. It's unnatural. And you get movies like this that's trying to, put this little propaganda out there like it's a cool hip thing. And realistic, in realistic results, women get kind of sick of it, and they end up blaming the guy or patriarchy for getting this in their head. But no, you watching movies like this that make you think it's a still cool hip thing that is happening, that you can do it all, no matter the age, and you're lying to these young girls.
Discovering the possibilities of her body and watching a young man respect and empower that journey is truly erotic. Progressive white women are the culprits of a new American sound, vocal fry, a low-frequency, gravelly, or crackling voice register produced by loose, vibrating vocal cords, sometimes called creaky voice.
They look identical, I think, for the last 10 seasons, but she gave me my original mic that I started with.
Almost as annoying as the
I thought that was just more like a LA type of lingo. Like, oh my God, it's talk like this, and it's and it's talk normal. Talk with some cadence, some confidence in your voice.
false, emotionally empty influencer gasp, where bony creatures under strata layers of cosmetics feign excitement at a product they've been paid to shill.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Progressive white women are the vast majority of tech girls who post incessant clips of their days at corporate headquarters, which are essentially adult daycare, with the girl delivering a spiel in a desensitized monotone about the array of meal options the company provides, and the infantilizing sports and music rooms available for tech girls to let off steam, despite having accumulated no steam from the non-pressures of their never discussed or documented actual professional responsibilities. Progressive white women are outnumbering their male counterparts on campus, but instead of imbuing the space with their touted emotional intelligence, empathy, and collaborative relational skills, progressive white women turned campuses into Hieronymus Bosch visions of ideological hell. And, in recent college free speech rankings, men, across ideologies, were more likely to tolerate speakers they dislike, while women, especially progressive white women, were significantly more likely to condition significantly dislike, while
I've seen this chart before, and it's been proven many times through many sources, this being one of them. Girls don't like, to hear things, even among their own peer group or similar genders, anything that isn't the same thing. Like any disagreement, no matter how benign, it's like, oh, it's evil. Holding women's feet to the fire on certain things that is deemed probably irresponsible. Oh, it's deemed evil. Oh, you're hurting my feelings. You're attacking me personally, when you're probably speaking in general. Oh, you're not part of the sisterhood. You're not a girl's girl. But guys can like have disagreements no matter what walk of life from the guys coming from. We can still, in general, walk away with some level of understanding and still hold respect.
Women, especially progressive white women, were significantly more likely to condition tolerance on ideological alignment. The reason this has lasted so long is that it looks like ethics, community standards, and emotional safety. A more appropriate term might be bollocks. Between 2023 and 2025, The Hill conducted 1,500 confidential interviews with undergraduates. They asked, have you ever pretended to hold more progressive views than you truly endorse to succeed socially or academically? An astounding 88% said yes. These students were not cynical, but adaptive. So, you have a situation where progressive white women are sighing and bemoaning what they see as the directionless drifting and falling away of men, when in reality, in a more nuanced and sophisticated reading, you actually have a whole bunch of young guys who, being men, have a sharp ear for pretense and phoniness, who are shrewdly sizing up the humanities and asking, why would I want to be part of that and have my identity periodically deconstructed and pay a huge amount for the privilege?
It don't matter. None of this matters.
You, just you, building your app on Base 44.
Progressive white women, who are highly represented in the schooling system, are also much to blame for a truly terrible modern issue. Papers where, if the marker believes the student is a girl, it is statistically liable to receive a slightly higher grade than the paper of a student believed to be a young man. The majority of gay male characters on TV are written by and for straight white women, which means they look like this instead of the reality of this. Progressive white women have a strange fascination with men having sex with each other. One of the biggest commercial smash hits of this year was two ice hockey dudes who like to engage in anal sex, written in semi-literate prose. There were two...
I don't know what's the hype around gay hockey players. It's so weird, and girls are eating it up. Because I guess the drama of it all, but why is that anywhere near appealing? It shouldn't be this popular. And girls like buying into this crap. Like, this is why you want to like wear all the real men, and it's like, well, you kind of supporting like things that aren't, I won't say not masculine, but you know what I mean. It's like you're propping up this like this gay narrative when you should be supporting more like heterosexual kind of romances and stuff. Now, if it was something like Love and Basketball, where like there's a girl from a women's hockey team, dating a guy who's on this other hockey team, there's easily drama. Like it could be like another Love and Basketball situation, but instead of basketball, it's hockey, and it probably would do it far better than this like gay rom-com.
Many things to process. Ilya Rozanov had gotten him off in a hotel room. Italics again. Ilya Rozanov wanted to sneak out of his team's hotel the next time they were in Montreal, open parentheses, next week, close parentheses, and meet Shane at his italicized apartment so he could italicized fuck him. Ilya Rozanov wanted to italicized fuck him. Shane was both terrified and undeniably aroused by the idea. Undeniably italicized extremely aroused by the idea. The selective structuralist. Everything is systemic. Except personal hypocrisy. Every cultural artifact must be interrogated. The ally performance loop, publicly centering others but subtly centering themselves. The girl boss to burnout arc. Career maximalism. Anti-family rhetoric at 27. Egg freezing think piece at 34. Substack on soft living at 36. Cliterature. That's actually a term. As pseudo-sophisticated, pseudo-liberating, pseudo-edgy, pseudo-zeitgeist, orgasm-centric, interior monologue chick fiction. Romantasy, with preposterous metal bikini-clad, morally immaculate heroines getting up to erotic shenanigans with Chad elves, or ridiculously hung centaurs, and a brooding male who must be emotionally housebroken, either a tyrant who melts under feminine empathy, or a literal shadow creature who exists to affirm her resilience. The progressive white women who instituted sensitivity readers and trigger warnings have also brought a literary trauma arms race. Every protagonist must have institutional betrayal, gaslighting, and or generational harm. The male failure narrativist. Men are in crisis because toxicity, gaming, porn, red pill. Women are in crisis because men. Ordinary male behavior can be pathologized. Awkwardness equals threat. Romantic pursuit equals entitlement. Stoicism equals repression. Disinterest equals misogyny. For progressive white women, body positivity is, or was, a natural maturing of the culture toward more realistic proportions and an embrace of imperfections and an overdue clapback at social media and celebrity distortions of natural femininity and impossible body and beauty standards that were eroding the self-esteem of women everywhere, while at the same time, hypersexualized, ultra-slim depictions of erotic female agency and aspirational fantasy ideals are promoted as raw, unflinching, stunning, and slaying, and who now celebrate Ozempic transformations of plump celebs from yesteryear flaunting their chemically shrunken frames on red carpets, so that nothing means anything, everything is contradictory.
Yeah, there's all a bunch of bull. Like, wherever the money is or where the wind blows, they just go with it because that's where the money is, or, that's where, like, the trend is. Oh, first is a body positivity, now it's Ozempic. I would respect it more if it, like, you didn't cater to whatever trend. It's like, if you were skinny before, and you didn't promote this whole body positivity thing, you might get, like, backlash or talked about, but, you stood on principle. And once, like, the Lizzos and the, what's that freaking female comedian? I forgot her name. Amy Schumer, you wouldn't end up like them. They'll be considered like the posers. Sure, they lost weight, obviously for health reasons, but more or less they're posers because it's like, even though they probably wouldn't have been like vocal about it, but they definitely reap the benefits of the body positivity. But now all that, like with Adele, they're getting like backlash because now certain girls who were that way are feeling a little self-conscious because now they don't got no super heroine to look up to that made it okay to be that size. Now they actually have to probably either get Ozempic or go to the freaking gym, which is probably better, instead of taking medication like Ozempic. Because it's like, it goes to show you can't lean on these celebrities or Hollywood to deem what is the moral fibers that you should adhere to. It's like, do what's best for you. What is moral to you. At least have some moral grounding, like, Christianity or Buddhism or something like that. But, have some, like, sense, some moral compass. Knowing that, like, okay, this is deemed stupid. I don't care if it's trendy or is, like, progressive. But it's like, if it's, like, deemed kind of irresponsible or dumb or unhealthy, don't go with it because it's popular for right now. Because, a year from now, it's probably not going to be anymore. You'll either be a trendsetter or, they'll just look stupid.
Any narrative is up for grabs, and Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande both look distressingly emaciated, but to comment on that would be potentially destabilizing to emotionally sensitive and vulnerable women, so the better option is to not allude to it? Now, I understand what you're likely thinking. You're asking yourself, I'm just one person. It seems too hard. What could I possibly do to make a difference in all this? You're saying, I see progressive white women all around me, but it's easy to feel like I should just keep my head down and just put up with it. It's hard to know what's the right thing to do. The first and key thing for you to understand is that you're not alone. Many others are abiding and enduring progressive white women, and, like you, they would like to make a difference, but they don't know how or who to reach out to. Well, there are positive steps and genuine pathways in contending with progressive white women. An array of fundraisers can be set up and petitions can be submitted. Various government agencies and oversight committees can be established, and a number of hearings can be held to professionally scrutinize progressive white women. And then referenda can be set in motion, allowing common, concerned citizens to weigh in and have their say about the issue of progressive white women. There are legislative pathways, and judicial ones too, as well as international bodies such as the UN and The Hague. But that doesn't mean you can't take humble but meaningful action in your own life. If you're on the train and you see a progressive white woman reading Judith Butler or espousing theories about privilege, don't stay silent. Don't look away. Step in and do the right thing. Fighting casual misandry won't be easy. It involves challenging attitudes and systemic entitlement built up over a generation, and staging interventions early in school to prevent girls from developing traits of toxic femininity that will lead them to becoming femcells. There are plenty of good women, and it is up to them to step up as well, to be role models for girls, to intervene before they see Greta Thunberg videos, or read social constructivism, or play that first Billie Eilish album, and ward those girls away from the societal scourge of becoming progressive white women. Through small but meaningful deeds each day, we can all embrace our responsibility and be
especially the young girl.
a world of difference for our vulnerable girls.
Yeah, it's definitely up to other sensible women, like the Jebediah Bilas or the, women like that, or Rachel Wilson's, to like get out there and definitely like guys need to like sack up and stop being afraid to be men and tell these, women like, no, that is stupid. You're not going to do that, and bring back shame. That's like the biggest guardrail for women. The one thing they probably are afraid of above all else is shame. You shame them into like, avoiding these little feminist little things. You got to make it bad. So now it's not popular anymore. So you can, the pendulum can swing back into the middle, not so far in the other direction. I'm just saying back to the middle where things were sensible. We know the men's place, the women's place. Everybody's duties. What right from wrong, was socially acceptable, was individually acceptable, and like sure. If you're gay, what you do in your bedroom, in your own household, is your business. Once you step outside, you know how to conduct yourself in like a entirely different way. That you're not pushing anything on society. There's the barrier. We understand there's walls, there's barriers, there's boundaries, and we all have to respect those. There's a symbiosis that we have to live by as human beings. That we have to walk amongst each other and cordially live amongst each other and move about. Nobody's like overtaking the other. We feed off each other. We're not like overtaking one another. But when we're in the confines of our own space, then we rule it how we choose to rule it. With some sense, obviously, not just like some horrible monster. Like, obviously, you can't beat your kids in your own household. Just like, oh, it's my own household, I can do it. No, with reason. You know what I mean? But at least progressive white women, they're a danger to society from every aspect, for both men and women, for all races. Liberal white women. Those three things, those type of girls with those three aspects, they are a problem for everybody, because they have like some weird thinking, and they're the loudest voices, and corporations are listening to these people, so they put on these weird movies, these weird propaganda shows, all this crap that young girls, impressionable ones, deem that as okay, and it's not. You'll end up, trying to, instead of peacefully protesting, you'll end up interfering with local law enforcement that will end up costing your life. Not gonna say who it is or who I'm talking about, but you catch my drift. Liberal white women get people in trouble. They didn't have to be. Anyway, I will see you guys for the next one. You guys take care. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Echo Chamberlain's take, and I will see you all for the next one.